Hi, my name is Ishmael and today I want to talk about trauma and addiction. Why? Is because most people unknowingly have some form of addiction on a low, medium or high level and they don't even know it. Some people know they've got an addiction and other people know they've got an addiction, like a drug addiction, but a lot of people have other addictions which they don't know about. So I want to talk about these addictions and ways you could possibly change them or reduce them or at least notice you've got them, which is the first step to resolving the issue that you have. So, trauma. Trauma causes addiction. Now, it's been studied by various people that if you have traumatic experiences in your life, then you will start becoming addicted. So, we need to find the trauma. But how do you know if you've got an addiction and therefore you might have a trauma underlying it? Well, if you've got an addiction is classified as something which does not actually serve you. It doesn't help you and it can actually cause harm in various parts of your life or in your body. So, simple ones are things like drug addiction. Now, a drug addiction does not serve you because if you're taking a lot of drugs, then it can't be healthy for your body and it isn't healthy for your mind constantly being on drugs. Other forms of addiction are things like alcohol addiction. Now, alcohol addiction, again, a lot of people can see this addiction. So it's very easy to identify an alcohol addiction from the outside. If you're on the inside and you're constantly drinking, you may not actually identify that you have an issue inside that is actually causing you to have an alcohol addiction. And you might not even realise it's an addiction because you just drink and drink and drink and you go out with your friends and you drink and it's just a habit. But it might not be a proper addiction. But there's other addictions which are less subtle. Things like work addiction. There's a lot of workaholics in this world and people say, well, you've got to work hard to get anywhere in life. You've got to do 40, 50, 60, 70, even 80-hour weeks. I know some people have done 100-hour weeks for a few weeks in a row. Now, I don't know if that's true. They've told me they have. But I know that I haven't seen them for a very long time and they're being like, well, we're doing 100-hour weeks. Absolutely crazy in my mind to even consider doing that many hours. But people regularly do 40 to 60-hour weeks, and these 40 to 60-hour weeks can really have a detrimental effect on your health, your well-being, your family life, your relationships, your social life, and these things are all things that need to be balanced in your life. You need a balancing life. You can't have good without bad. You can't have this without that. It's this general thing about yin and yang. The reason they have yin and yang, and they have black and they have white, and not only black and white, but they have circles of black and white in the opposite colour. So they have black with a circle of white and they have white with a circle of black. But the reason they have yin and yang is because you can't have one without the other. Everything circles in life. So we need a balancing life. We can't have a lot of work and no relaxation because that will burn you out. So you have to have a balancing life. So things that can hurt you, if you are overworking, you lose your relationships. Now, you can also have sexual addictions, and you can also have food addictions. You can have addictions to buying stuff, shopaholics. You can have hundreds of different types of addictions. Learning addictions. I have been learning for a very long time, and I realised that after a while, I got addicted to learning. I just wanted to learn. There's quite a few people out there who just want to learn more, and they want to expand their knowledge, but they don't implement that knowledge. And this is something that you have to start doing. You have to start implementing the knowledge. Otherwise, it becomes an addiction. You get addicted to collecting stuff. People that are hoarders, they are also addicted. They're addicted to keeping stuff and collecting stuff. These are various types of addiction that most people don't realise are addictions, and they just think of it as a habit or a bad habit. And this is really detrimental to your personal health, your mental health, and your physical health, and your well-being, and your relationships. So, something that is detrimental to any one of those parts of your life means that it is an addiction if you are doing it without the willing knowledge of doing it. So if you do it because you feel an urge that you need to do it for some reason or another, then that is an addiction. If you're doing it because you want to do it, because you see that it's going to help you in some way and you're willing to make that sacrifice consciously, then that isn't an addiction, that's just a habit or that's just who you are. So once you've identified that you have an addiction, then you know that you must have a trauma related to that addiction, because all addictions arise from dislocation. Now, dislocation is another way of saying that you didn't fit into something in your past. Now, that could be you didn't fit in socially, that could be you didn't fit in mentally, intellectually, or emotionally. It doesn't matter, but you didn't fit in somewhere in your past. There was a trauma that caused this. So if you have a trauma in your past that has caused an addiction, then the way you resolve the addiction, a lot of people say, first you identify the addiction. Yes, you've identified it. The next step of resolving the addiction is actually to find out what caused the addiction. Because like in medicine, there's no point trying to stop the bleeding. If you've got an internal bleeding and then you can see that your blood on your arm is gone all blue and you want to pop it and you let the blood go out, yes, that's solving the blue swollen arm, but the blood is still going internally, it's still bleeding. You haven't solved the issue. You pop the thing, you cover it up, it will just swell up again with the blood inside. So you need to solve that internal bleeding. You need to solve that issue inside. You need to go and find the trauma that has that issue related to it, and then you can go and solve it. Now, I'm not going too deep into this in this video, so like this video, subscribe, whack that bell notification icon to get notified of videos coming out each and every week where you can get identified of how you can actually find these traumas, where you can go to look for them, how you can resolve them once you've found them, different techniques. These are all things covered on this channel. So like, subscribe and whack that bell notification icon.